crucial stocks you should have on your radar this Thursday morning. Our research team is standing by bright and early with CNBC-TV18's list of top stocks for the day. And first up, it's Vivek on Nykaa.
Well, that's right. Good morning. So, a large block deal is expected as far as Nykaa is concerned. As per the term sheet, there are two sellers, Harinder Pal Singh Banga along with Indra Banga, are looking to sell a little over 2% stake in the company. The floor price for this particular block deal is at a discount to yesterday's closing, and it's at 200 rupees a share. Total size of the block is 1,200 crores. So watch out for Nykaa. Could see a red opening as far as today's trading is concerned.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Vivek. Well, let's go across to Hormuz. He's tracking Shakti Pumps. Hey, Hormuz.
Morning, Nigel. And Shakti Pumps has launched yet another QIP to raise funds. This comes almost a year and a quarter after they did their previous exercise. So this time around, the floor price of around 966 rupees is almost a 2.5% premium compared to yesterday's closing price. So keep an eye out on that. Of course, the board has mentioned that they'll offer a discount of up to 5% on the floor price as per their discretion. And they had approved raising around about 400 crore rupees through this QIP route in January of this year. So now they're exercising that mandate. And the last time they had done a QIP was back in March of 2024. And they raised 200 crores through that. Most of those shares were issued to funds belonging to LIC and SBI. And since that last QIP, the stock is up almost 300%. So expect the stock to open in the red, but may see some recovery over the course of the day.
Okay, all right. So Shakti Pumps on our radar. Thank you very much for that, Hormuz. Let's talk about Avenue Supermarts, V2 Retail. A lot of companies coming up with their mid-quarter updates. Manglam, how's it looking?
Well, for Avenue Supermarts, the standalone revenue for the company grew by 16.2%. They added 9 stores during this quarter. And if you look at last year and now, the store addition has actually been 14.3%, which implies that, the same-store sales growth could be low single digits, around 1.5 to 2%, which is not the best. But then again, the sentiment has been such with the competition for quick commerce, etc., and the stock which was slightly under pressure yesterday. I would like to, believe that there would be mild green on DMart today, because the street will now await numbers coming in from the company in which they will watch out for the product mix. They will watch out for how DMart Ready, as a consolidated business, has performed. And at the same time, pace of store expansion is something that the street is betting on for DMart. On the other hand, V2 Retail, very strong update coming in, 51% jump in the revenue for the company, and this is on a high base already. The same-store sales growth, however, is just 5%, and the situation is similar to what happened with V-Mart Retail yesterday. For V2 Retail, if you adjust for the Eid shifting, the same-store sales growth is at around 10%, so see some green on V2 Retail.
All right, Manglam, and I think I'll do some ground research. I'm going to be in UP by this evening for the next 3 days or so. I'll come back and give you some feedback in terms of
Bag with shopping bags.
Some kind of bags. But yeah, I'll do some checks out there, because the malls out there, they really have a lot of footfalls out there, much more than actually Bombay as well. Thanks, Manglam, for that. But now it's time to welcome Gaurav, who's the new member of our team. And watch out for this guy, making a debut today. And solid one. Gaurav, tracking banks and financials today, PNB and Indian Bank on your radar. Tell us more, please.
Well, yes, Punjab National Bank. First, let's talk about this bank, because when we look at the system growth, we have already seen some slowdown in the banking system. The growth is at around 9.6%. And when we look at Punjab National Bank, it seems that the bank is also following the same trend, because advances grew only by 9.7%. It was actually a little bit lower than their own estimates for FY26. On the other hand, when we talk about deposit, we saw a strong growth of around 12%. But let's not forget that the CD ratio for the bank is at around 71%. So definitely bank needs to focus on the growth on loans from the time going ahead. Other than that, Indian Bank actually came up with good set of numbers, because when we look at the advances there, we saw a growth of around 11%. That was largely led by RAM segment, which grew at around 15% on a year-on-year basis. On the deposits front also, we saw a good set of number in line with what the bank had estimated for FY26. So definitely good set of number is what we saw from Indian Bank in the quarterly updates for this quarter.
All right, Gaurav, but we can't let you go only at that. We'll come to you for a few more stocks and maybe a treat later in the day. For the time being, I'll take over. We'll talk about Hindustan Zinc and then come back to you. They came up with a quarterly update. It's not a big mover of the stock at all, but the number looks a little bit subdued. So the mined metal production, that's mildly higher by close to around 1%. But if you look at the saleable metal production, that's down by 5%. Refined zinc production as well down by close to 4%. And refined lead production as well is a little bit lower. In addition to that, silver, where the big bet is on, right? Because silver prices have perked up. In number of tons, it's come down to around 140 49 towns, which is down both on a year-on-year as well as on a sequential basis. So, one of the factors that could contribute to the stock going down. But remember, in the last 1 month or so, from the time we highlighted that 520, there's that temptation that someone will come and sell, either the government or the promoter, and that's what happened. The stock has already corrected from 530 all the way to this 450 level. But as promised, Gaurav, you're on the list today, you're on the watch list with few more stocks. Tell us.
Well, yes, first let's talk about Mahindra and Mahindra Finance. A very weak set of number is what we saw in terms of disbursements for Q1 FY26 because disbursements increased only by 1% on a year-on-year basis. Now, let's not forget in the same quarter last year, the disbursement growth was at around 5% and it is also lower than what the street was expecting. On the other hand, when we talk about collection efficiency, there we saw a little bit of deterioration. And in fact, when we look at the street's expectation now, they are also a little concerned about the growth because now analysts believe that the loan growth could be somewhere around 12% if the same story continues in the quarters coming ahead as well. On the other hand, when we talk about CSB Bank, a strong set of numbers is what we saw in this quarter as well. A loan book growth was at around 33% on a year-on-year basis, and this was led by the gold loan portfolio that the bank has. When we talk about deposits, there also we saw a strong set of number in the tune of around 20%. So definitely good set of number from CSB Bank. But on the other hand, M&M Finance is coming up with weak set of numbers for Q1 FY26 so far.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that, Gaurav. Well, I'm looking at Vedanta. And yesterday, the stock was excited. In the last few trading sessions as well, it was excited because all eyes were on the NCLT hearing. We don't have a verdict coming out of there, and there are, various technical factors that are still out play with regard to the regulators. So we'll have to wait for the outcome from the NCLT. For the time being, the next hearing is on August 20th. So that NCLT trigger didn't really play out the way the street anticipated. So that's why, because of the delay, we're working with a bit of a red today on the stock. The management, though, says they're committed to enhancing shareholders' value and they believe that this will ultimately get through. So management is confident that things will, move ahead in the right direction. Why are we saying, the stock opens up in the red? Because there'll be a delay to the timeline. Earlier, they were saying by September 2025, we'll have this demerger totally completed, which currently will not be the case. So from Q2, it becomes a story of Q3 FY26. However, the stock after opening up in the red could see some buying. Why is that? Because this demerger actually gives a big value unlocking proposition. The stock trades at less than 5 times EV upon EBITDA. And when you do the sum of parts, in fact, it can unlock value. Second factor is, the valuations, as I mentioned. And the third factor is the dollar index is weak. When the dollar index is weak, it's good for base metals. And Vedanta is the play on all of those base metals. So stock opens up in the red because of the delay in the demerger timeline. But some kind of bottom fishing could be seen at lower levels.
Okay, all right. So Vedanta is going to be on our radar. But yes, it's not a full green signal from the NCLT just yet. Let's quickly recap then our list of top stocks to watch. The ones that have positive news flow this morning are Avenue Supermarts, V2 Retail, Indian Bank and CSB Bank. Stocks with negative news flow would be Nykaa, Shakti Pumps, Hindustan, Zinc, M&M Financial and Vedanta. PNB, we're keeping it on the yellow side. Perhaps a mixed reaction expected to the Q1 update.